So we're ready to start. There's only half an hour left, so you're only going to see, a portion of it. You have to assume that there's been a preliminary interview already held with our parties, Jackie and James, and I would normally have a board to write on, and we don't have that in this magnificent room. So I'm just going to take notes when it comes to the agenda taking. All right. So thank you, Jackie and James, for coming today. I met you both at the preliminary discussions that we had, and you both agreed to come to mediation. I just want to spend a few moments talking about what's going to happen today. But first of all, I assumed, given that your brother-in-law and sister-in-law, you're happy to go by Jackie and James?
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. All right, and please call me Rosemary. Just briefly, the proceedings here today, the mediation, that sounds very formal, but the mediation today is confidential as far as the law allows. I talked to you about coming in good faith, and you convinced me that you were coming in good faith. Also that this process is without prejudice. So clearly, if you aren't able to settle today, you wouldn't be able to take away anything that you learnt in this mediation to those proceedings. My role, as I've explained to you, is an impartial third party. I'm not here to give you advice, but my role is to conduct the mediation and make sure that you both have equal time to contribute to the process. Your roles is to, put as much information on the table as possible so that it provides clarity for you both about what the issues are. And when we get to that stage, to think about ways that the matter might be able to be settled. Just in terms of some courtesies, just one person speaking at a time, and if you forget that, I'll just quietly remind you. It is important to hear what the other person's got to say, so if you come up with an idea or an offer, I'll probably ask you just to write that down, and we'll come back to it, because I think in this process it's really important to really hear the whole thing out before you make decisions about how you're going to settle the matter. I gave you a confidentiality agreement and an agreement to mediate, and you both signed those and returned them to me. And I just remind you about the conditions, the points that were contained in there. The first part of the mediation is statement taking, and after you've both done that, in doing that, I'm going to ask you, what has brought you to mediation, and then I'm going to assist you by putting together an agenda. That agenda provides a very good time management tool and ensures that every issue is up, and that will also guide the discussion during the main part of the mediation. It may be that we have some separate sessions. Sometimes they're called caucusing. You'll remember in the preliminary I explained to you that they're confidential, they're brief. It's just to get an idea of how the process is going for you. To talk about any issues that have come up for you. And I'm also bound by confidentiality throughout the whole process, and particularly in those separate sessions, and I won't be bringing anything back to the mediation. If it all goes smoothly, then we'll move into what we call an option generation, and it'll be an opportunity for you both to provide some ideas about how the matter might be settled. And if that's the case, then I will assist you to write up an agreement that forms the basis of the way you move forward. All right. So any questions?
No, I'm
All right.
good.
Thank you. All right. Now this is a very democratic process, so who would like to go first with their opening statement?
Well, I will, because I'm the one who's got the complaints, I suppose.
All right. Now, James, I think at this stage it'd be helpful if you directed your summary to me.
Yes, well, I will. Look, you know, I needed a driveway built. My house has, you know, got a longish driveway, and I've got this wedding coming up soon with my my kid, and I have to have someone do the concreting. Or my sister-in-law, I know she's a concreter and she can do this sort of stuff. So I went to her and asked her how much it was going to cost, and she told me $6,000. Now that's $1,000 less than the usual price, but I just, you know, family and all that, I guess I got a mate's rate sort of price, but I wasn't expecting to get a cheap quality driveway. Well, turns out that the driveway sags in the middle. You come up the drive and you turn the bend, and all of a sudden you're sort of, you know, dropping. Now she's built it, but it goes down and it sort of dips. Now that it's cracking, and all the rain and the leaves and everything collect in that. It's just not good work. Now, she didn't tell me she was going to be doing a crappy job for the money. I was expecting a decent driveway, but you know, I think she's just taken advantage of me.
Oh, fair
So
go.
I've got-
You don't have to criticise me already.
Thank you, Jackie. You'll have an opportunity to put forward your summary in just a moment. Thank you.
So, you know, thank you. I really don't want to, you know, spend a whole lot of money on fighting this in court, so I'm really happy to be here to mediate it. But, you know, she's really just got to fix the driveway, because, you know, I can't have guests driving up there for this wedding and yeah, sort of bumping their suspension over the grid, the dip, as they keep coming up the hill there.
Okay. Thank you, James. I can see you've got some strong feelings there.
I do.
All
I
right.
do.
Thank you. So, Jackie, you know, again, you direct your statement to me and not answer James. What is your summary?
Well, look, James came to me and he asked me to fix his driveway. He said that there were a couple of issues. One was that there was a deadline because his daughter was getting married, and look, we talked about when I'd be able to do it, and I tried to fit in with his schedule because I know his daughter's getting married. And look, we came up with a price of $6,000, and as James said, that was cheaper than other concreters would do it for. But look, I was prepared to do it for that price, but I did actually tell James that there was a problem with the drainage underneath the driveway, and that he might need to do some additional work, and he just didn't want to do it because it was going to cost him more. So there was a time restraint, and I did tell him that there was an issue with the drainage, and he'd have to do more work and pay more for it, but he didn't want to hear about that. And so he's paid me $3,000. So we agreed on $6,000, he's paid me $3,000, and now he says he doesn't want to pay me the rest because it's a crap job. It's not a crap job. I mean, he knew that there was a problem, and I tried to fit in, you know, and do the job as quickly as I could because he needed it done. And so now we're in this situation where he doesn't want to pay me the rest, and the job's done.
All right. All
Not
right.
done.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to summarise what you've said. So, James, you said that you needed a driveway for your home, and you actually described it quite well. That, you know, it's got a bend in it and it's quite long, and you wanted it done before your child's wedding, which is coming up. And you went to your sister-in-law Jackie because she works in the concreting industry, and you got a mate's rate, you said, of $6,000 when you knew that the standard rate was about another $1,000. But what you said was that you didn't expect cheap quality for that. So you expressed that you were disappointed in the work that was done, and you said that you'd come to mediation because you didn't want to fight the matter in court.
Yes, that's about right.
Oh, good, thank you. And Jackie, you said that you were happy to do the driveway, but up front there were a couple of issues, and one of them you said was because there was a deadline, so there was a timing issue for you. And you said the other issue was around the drainage, and that you had advised James that he really needed to do more work, but that would cost more work, and he didn't want to do that.
That's right.
So he paid you $3,000, and he still owes $3,000.
That's right.
And in fact, he said to you that he believes it's a crap job. That was the words you used.
That's right.
Okay. So, you say you want to have, come to some agreement about how you can move forward with it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to help you now prepare an agenda so that you have some guidance with the rest of the discussion. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, so just one or two words that describe what you'd like to talk about, just neutral language, and I'll write them up to assist with the process. So you started first last time, Athol, so James, so Jackie.
Getting paid.
Okay, so payment. Yes, thank you. And James?
Fixing the dip.
Okay, so the repair. Okay.
All
Repair?
right. Yeah.
Jackie?
Look, I think that's it for me. I just want to get paid.
Right, okay, so payment, all right. Well, we'll come back.
Perhaps,
Look, I think
James?
I might
perhaps
add
fixing the
something.
dip before the wedding.
Yes. maybe
Okay, so timing isn't an issue.
Timing, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And maybe
Okay.
relationship. I mean, we do have to continue having some sort of relationship, don't we? We are
Oh.
related
Of course.
by marriage, I suppose.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so the relationship is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Plus, my mum's given me hell about this.
All right, so it's affecting the relationship wider.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, all right, thank you. So the agenda items are payment, repair, timing, and the relationship. All right. So we're back to you, James, to pick one of those topics, and I'd like you to, as much as possible, talk to Jackie about, what the issue means to you. So expand on it, and so that she fully understands your views.
Well, all right. Jackie, I'm really worried about this job. You and I both know that we've got Catherine's wedding coming up, and people are going to be driving up and down this drive. They're going to see your work, and they're probably going to damage their cars on the dip in my drive. We've got to save a bit of face here. We've got to fix it. We've got to fix it before the wedding. Now I know you've got to have some money, but you've got to do the job for the money. All right?
Sure, but I told you that there was going to be a problem with it, but you wanted it fixed quickly and you didn't want to spend that extra money.
Well, I don't recall you telling me that. I really don't. I don't.
So let's just clarify here. How do you recall that conversation went, Jackie? Just remind James about the conversation.
Well, remember when we were discussing the amount of money, $6,000 that you agreed to pay? And I said to you that at that point, look, it might be a bit more than that because there's this drainage. There could be this drainage problem with the driveway. And you said, look, no, look, just we need to do the job quickly.
So what's your recollection of that conversation, James?
Well, to be honest, my recollection is that the job, I said that we had to do the job in an appropriate way in a reasonable time. But I don't remember anything about you saying that there was going to be extra work done for the drainage.
Well, I said that there could be. And
well, you're a professional. I mean, I expect that if you quote me a price and you're going to do the work, it's going to be done. It's going to be done right.
well, look, it was done right, but I mean, I told you it could be a problem with that dip because of the drainage issue, but you just didn't want to spend the extra money.
Well, I simply don't recall any extra money being talked about. How much extra money were you talking about?
Well, look, I mean, at that time, I said to you it'd be about $800.
So Jackie, just explain to James, it is, less technically as you can, what actually has
the ground is unstable and the drainage beneath the driveway is the reason for the dip. And when we discussed it, I said to you, if I'm going to fix that, it's going to be an extra $800. And you said, look, let's not worry about that. Just fix it. And you know, if it becomes an issue, I don't know what you said after that. I don't recall that, but I do remember that you actually said, don't worry. You didn't want to pay the extra $800. That's what I recall you saying.
So,
See, my recollection of this, Rosemary, is that we discussed that this driveway could be built for a sum of money, and there was all sorts of stuff about things that could be done and things that couldn't be done. There was the colour of the concrete and the dip in the concrete and the drainage of the concrete and whether or not we used, Portland cement or some other sort of cement. But at the end of the day, I thought we struck a deal that you were going to build a competent workman-like driveway for a particular sum of money, and that was $6,000. And you haven't. You haven't built a workman-like driveway,
well, I have
a person-like driveway.
I did tell you that there was a drainage problem and that there might be more of a dip, and you said don't worry about it.
so in terms of clearly being told about the drainage, that there was a potential drain problem, tell Jackie what was going on in your mind at the time, if you weren't agreeing to pay the extra money. Just what was going on in your mind at the time?
See, Rosemary, I understood that there would be some dipping in the driveway, but Jackie didn't tell me that it was going to be as severe as it actually turned out to be, or indeed that it had happened so quickly as you come around the bend. So if I'd known that there was work that was really going to be necessary, I probably wouldn't have agreed to the job being done without additional preparation in the actual sub levels of it. They would have had to build it up or something.
All right.
But that wasn't made clear to me. I think she took advantage of me.
Well, let me summarise what you've been saying here, and that is that there was an agreement to fix the driveway for less than the standard rate. That it seems clear that Jackie did talk about possible drainage problems, but for you, your understanding, James, was that this was something that if it happened, it was going to be a long way down the track, and that you would have expected that the driveway was to a high standard, and that, so...
Well, yeah, if I'd known that it was going to be like this, I really would have gone for the additional preparation underneath it, but she didn't make that part clear.
Right. So can you understand from Jackie's point of view, she did try to advise you clearly up front about the potential, and you are now saying to her that it hasn't been good workmanship. If you were Jackie, how do you think you might feel about hearing that?
Well, I'd probably be a bit pissed off, I suppose, but I'd probably ask myself some questions too about, gee, did I really make it clear to him? I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. That's what I'd be thinking.
All right. Well, look, there is some agreement here, I think, in what actually happened, but perhaps some differences in how the approach might have been. It might be a good time to move on to the next topic. So what would you like to talk about, Jackie?
Look, the relationship. I think that, look, this is obviously damaging the relationship that you have with Peter, and I don't want that. So I want to move forward in some way. So. But you've got to understand that, I'm out of pocket $3,000, and then you're asking me to be out of pocket even more than that to fix the problem. So I want to move forward in a way that we can still maintain some sort of relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So James, Jackie's talked about the relationship, and that relationship is about you being related through family. You also talked in the opening about your mum. You mentioned your mum. So how important is the relationship to you?
Oh, well, we're a good close family, and it's very important to me. And Peter's Peter's got the shits with me, I suppose, and Mum is really down on us both, I suppose, but mostly me for making a fuss about it because it's my driveway. I don't think she really understands it, and besides which she doesn't drive, so, you know. But, yeah, I agree, Jackie, we've got to fix it, and I want it fixed. And, you know, I can pay some money if we fix it, but it's got to be fixed.
Okay, well, I'm hearing some common ground there. You both agree that the relationship's really important and worth working towards and maintaining, and you've both agreed there's a common ground that it needs to be fixed, and there's also some common ground in terms of that there is most likely going to be some expense. I heard you say, James, that you know, if there's some more money, okay, and I hear you saying, Jackie, there is going to be the need for more money to fix it. So I'm not certain the last one is common ground, but you're both being quite realistic about what needs to happen from here. So, all right. Is something else that you'd like to talk about, James?
I think we had, excuse me, I think we had timing as one of the issues too.
That's
the wedding's
correct.
coming up soon, and you know, people are going to be using it and driving up and down it pretty much constantly for that wedding. You know, it's going to have to be done before that. That's my problem. It's a matter of urgency.
Well, if you were to agree to pay me some money, then maybe we could talk about when I might be able to fix it, because now I'm out of pocket $3,000 plus I'm going to be out of pocket whatever it's going to cost to repair it. So, I mean, you know, it's going to cost me about almost $2,000, $1,600 to fix it, plus the $3,000 I'm out of pocket, so that's $4,600. I'm out of pocket.
Well,
I'll be out of pocket.
Yeah, but I'm out of driveway. I mean, you know, this is why we're here, isn't it? Because you know, the driveway is not good enough, and you want money. Well, yeah, I can see that, but I want a driveway.
Jackie, explain to James why the payment is so important to you.
Well, look, I think I've actually done what you asked me to do, and that is, well, yeah, I told you about the dip. You were told about the dip. You just didn't want to actually spend the extra money. So you've now.
Thank you, James.
You've now actually got.
Thank you. I think Jackie gets the idea.
Well, obviously she doesn't. She's on about it. That dip is pretty much unworkable. I mean, you know, you need a V-shaped car to get up it.
You knew that there could be a problem.
James,
but you just were too cheap to actually spend the extra $800.
Let me stop you there, and Jackie, you just finished explaining to James. You say that you've done the job, so you think you should be paid. Is there any other sort of practical reason why you're talking about the money?
Look. I mean, I think I've done the job, and therefore I should get paid for it. I mean, I don't think it's realistic for James to be keeping that money. So, and look, I've got to pay my tradespeople. I've got to pay them. I mean, and so, you know, and I've got an overdraft facility and.
Okay, so it seems to be, while you have some agreement on the fact that there is a problem and that the driveway needs to be repaired, and it needs to be repaired quickly because the wedding's coming, it seems that a point of difference with you is about the final payment. Jackie, you're saying you'd like it now before you proceed to do the repairs, and James, you're saying no, you're shaking your head and saying, no, you don't want to do that, you want to see it fixed.
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right, well, I think you've dealt with your agenda items. I think this is a very good time now to have a separate session. You recall that I told you that the separate sessions are confidential, and that I'll just meet with each of you for a few moments. And it's just to see how the mediation's going. So who would like to stay first for a separate session?
Look, I can go. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jackie. Just go out and make yourself a cup of tea.
Don't you go to the wires?
All right, so
It doesn't stay there. Sorry, keep talking.
James, as I said, this is a confidential session, and so how do you feel the mediation's going so far?
Well, so far all we've really done is talk about the things we both agree on for ourselves. I haven't seen any willingness to fix the driveway or any way forward yet, but you know, I have faith in you.
You didn't hear Jackie say that she would fix the driveway, that she was happy to do that?
Well, what I mostly heard was her saying that she would fix the driveway if I gave her the money that we're in dispute about. But how do I know I can actually trust her to do that work once she gets the money? She might be so pissed off with me that she just won't do anything. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, this is an opportunity to do some reality checking. I mean, is Jackie the sort of person that would make a, an offer and not go through with it?
Oh, I don't know, but I mean, you know, we're here because she misled me about the standard of work she could produce. So, you know, I'm sure, you know, with the family connection and all that, she'd probably be a bit more careful than usual, but she's obviously not done it right so far. Hell, I don't know, she might not be able to do it. That's why I'm worried about.
James, you know, you did acknowledge that there was a brief conversation with Jackie at the time about the drainage issue. You said that you recalled that, but you didn't think it was so important or that it would impact on the driveway. So Jackie clearly did raise that with you.
Glossed over it more like.
You felt that it was glossed over.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, in this part, you know, it's quite important to do some reality checking about options. So, what for you would be the best thing that could happen out of today?
Well,
The best option?
I think the best thing would be to have the driveway fixed and us be friends again. That's what I'd really like.
And what is the importance about the relationship?
Oh, family, you know. Get my mum off my back for a start.
Get your mum off your back, yeah?
And, you know, I like my brother too. He's all right. I've forgotten his name, but he's all right.
Peter. Peter's.
Yeah, Peter, yeah.
Peter, yeah. All right, so the relationship is quite an important issue out of this, to keep that. Okay. So what do you think might be the worst thing that could happen if you aren't able to come to an agreement today?
Oh, gee. I'd have to pay someone a heap of money to fix the driveway and...
A heap of money? You mean more than it's likely to if you negotiate with Jackie?
Well, maybe. I don't know, but you know, it looks pretty expensive to me. And, you know...
Because Jackie was talking about...
She'd probably sue me in court, so that's not a lot of fun either, you know.
Okay. All right. So there are some very good reasons to try and come to an agreement today.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So if you were in Jackie's shoes, what do you think that she, you know, might be thinking at the moment and might be wanting to do? She has articulated some of that, but what...
Oh, I think she probably wants to sort it out too. You know, she's got to live with the family just like the rest of us. It's not all about me, I know that, but it is about the problem at the moment.
Okay, so summarising what I heard Jackie say in the joint session was that she's keen to have the $3,000 outstanding paid to her, and I guess she didn't articulate it, but I guess she's got costs associated with that. And she said that she thought the repairs would be around about $600. Yes, she did.
Right.
She just talked about that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Right.
So if she's offering to do it for $600, now the original price would have been an additional $1,000 had you had it done at the time, and if she's offering to repair it for $600, is that something you could live with?
I suppose I could. Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit over a barrel, aren't I? I've got to have it fixed. I suppose if what you're saying is that it would have cost more than $3,000, sorry, more than $6,000 the first time round, another 10% on there, all right, so long as it fixes it for that money. Yeah, I could live with that.
You could live with that?
But I don't want to give her the money up front. I want the money to, you know, I want her to be waiting for it till the job's done.
And is there any particular reason for that?
Well, yeah, I want her to really try hard to get it right. I don't trust that she'll get it right if she's got the money in her hand. She'll come up with some argument that says, oh, well, you know, it's another 500 or another 1,000 or whatever.
And if you were in Jackie's situation, you know, being a business person and doing the work, what might be some issues that are important for her? See, what I'm asking you to do here is to think, you know, about what Jackie's going to say and what she's going to argue, because if you're prepared for that, then that will help the negotiation process. So, you know, you want to pay after it's completed, and she's clearly said that she needs to have payment up front for work that's already done.
Well, I suppose she's going to argue that it's costing her money and she's got to buy extra bits and things like that, which she can't afford unless I pay her. I've got an idea. Do you want to hear an idea I've got?
Sure.
Well, what we could do, I mean, I've got the money. She's probably worried that I'm just not going to pay, but that's not right. I've got the money. So why couldn't we give it to like a third person to hold, and she could submit accounts for the things she needs, which could be verified by me, and then we could agree to release bits of the money as necessary for the job to be carried out. But I don't want her to have all of the money along the way, because there's no incentive to finish it then, not even family.
Well, I'm not going to provide a view on whether that's good or not, but would that be something you'd be prepared to put to Jackie?
Yeah, I'd do that.
In this issue, in this matter, Jackie has talked about relationships and that. If you were to put that offer, how do you think she might feel about the trust issues and the relationship in the family?
Well, I suppose she'll probably feel a bit uneasy about that, but the truth is I feel a bit crook now because I've got a dodgy driveway, so, you know, fair's fair.
Okay.
Share it.
All right, well, when we come back to the joint session, would you be prepared to put that option to Jackie?
I would.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, just reminding you again that this is confidential and I won't be bringing back any information from this discussion. It'll be entirely up to you if you decide to do that.
All right.
Okay, so thank you, James. You go and help yourself to a refreshment, and I'll catch up with Jackie.
You might not. There you go. Right.
Okay, Jackie, thank you for that. Just want to remind you that the session is confidential and it's just a brief session to see how things are going. So how's the mediation going for you?
Look, I think it's going okay. I mean, yeah, look, okay. I mean, I'm just a bit concerned that James doesn't actually hear what I'm saying in relation to the fact that I did tell him that there could be an issue with the drainage in the driveway, and that he's not prepared to pay me the $3,000. So, and it's going to cost me more money if he wants me to fix it. So they're the things I'm concerned about. And also he's defaming me as well. I mean, he's telling everybody that I did such a bad job. So, you know, I really want him to stop doing that.
Okay. All right. So if, you know, what for you would be the best thing to leave this mediation with? What would be the best outcome for you?
To get paid.
To get paid?
Yeah, to get paid $3,000. And
Okay.
look, I mean, maybe I should have been clearer about the fact that he really did need to look at doing some drainage, additional drainage of that area, just in case the dip might be worse than we thought. But
So you think perhaps you didn't explain it fully enough?
look, maybe I didn't press the issue, and I probably didn't press the issue because I knew that there was a real time limit because his daughter was getting married. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So what would be for you the worst outcome if you're not able to come to an agreement today?
Well, that we go to court, I mean, or that I don't go to court and just, and that we don't have a relationship at all. So that's not going to be very, very good, not for my husband and not for James.
So what do you think that you can bring back to the mediation so that you don't have the worst outcome and that you're able to reach some of the the best sort of outcomes for you?
Look, I'd like to get paid, and look, I mean, maybe James could actually assist in doing some of the work, so maybe he could roll his sleeves up and help us so that we could redig that driveway area, and then it wouldn't cost as much because the materials aren't going to be the expensive component, it's going to be just the labour. So, you know, if he could actually help, then maybe I wouldn't have to charge him as much because, you know, I'm happy to fix the issue, but I don't want to be significantly out of pocket. I mean, I'm going to be out of pocket, but you know, I mean, maybe I could charge him just for the materials, and if he could provide the labour, and I'd be there doing the work as well. Maybe that's the way we could.
Would you be prepared to sort of put that proposal to James?
Look, I would, but the other issue I'm concerned about is that he's really bad-mouthing me to all our family and friends, and I'm really concerned about that. So,
and so what would you like to see happen about that?
For him to stop.
No, so you want to ask him to stop?
Well, can you ask him?
No, that's not something that you know, I would do as a mediator. But I'd like to be able to facilitate an environment that you would be comfortable doing that, Jackie.
Well, look, I'd be happy to ask him then.
So just before we had the separate sessions, you said that you thought the repair would cost an additional $600. Okay. So I suppose, you know, for both of you, you've got to think about, and you talked about, you know, the worst thing that would happen is going to court and the costs of that. So how much do you think it would cost to go to court?
At least double.
At least double. Okay. So that's something to think about, isn't it? Okay. All right. Well, again, I just remind you that I'm not going to bring anything back to the joint session, but I encourage you to, if you think it will help move this forward and get a settlement.
Okay.
All right? Thank you, Jackie. James, come and join us. We're well over. Do you want to
That's
stop?
okay because we're in tutorial,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's fine.
All right. Thank you, James. So I just want to remind you that the sessions were confidential, and if you want to bring anything back, you need to do that yourself. You did complete before the discussion on the agenda items. So is there anything that either of you would like to bring back to the joint meeting before we move to the next step?
Well, I have a proposal that might work. How about, because I'm worried that the driveway mightn't get finished properly if, you know, I give you all the money right up front because you might have other jobs you can do. How about I put the money that you're owed plus anything we agree that you might need to fix the dip into a third person's hands, and you submit any accounts you've got other than your profit accounts to the third person for me to agree to, and if I agree we release those bits of money as necessary along the way so that you're not out of pocket for the bits of work that you have to do, but not your profit costs. They come at the end of the job. How's that?
Look, I think that sounds reasonable, but I mean, you might be able to save some money if, for instance, you do some of the work too. So maybe if you could, I mean, in the sense of the $3,000, I mean, that's I'm owed by you, but it's going to be another $600 to get the driveway done the way that you want. So, look,
Jackie, just explain to James why it's going to cost $600.
That was my next question.
Yeah, look, basically, it's just going to be materials. I'm not going to make any money from that, and I'm happy to utilise materials and not make that much money out of it. But look, an option could be that you actually do some of the heavy lifting and as well. So we might be able to reduce it.
So you might save on some labour and get the work. Well, I suppose I could do that. We've got to get on with it, don't we?
And look, we've got to do it within the next couple of weeks too.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Okay. But look, the other issue is really, I just want you to stop bad-mouthing me.
Well, build me a driveway that works, and we'll you know.
So, Jackie, explain to James why this is such an important issue for you.
Well, look, it's just bad for the family. I mean, like, I don't particularly like hearing from other family members that you think I did such a crap job. And what about my reputation around town? If you're telling people, you know, the brother-in-law's telling people around town that I did such a crap job.
Yeah, well, there'd be a reason for that. Like, you did a crap job, but okay, if you can fix it, I might stop.
James,
But
are
right now,
you hearing what Jackie's saying about her
she's saying
reputation?
she doesn't want me to tell people she's doing a crap job, which would be telling lies to people at this point.
So, well,
Look, if she fixes it, I'll shut up, all right? Can't say fairer than that now, can I?
I think we might be able to move forward on that basis.
All right.
Then, yeah.
All right. And just to show I mean well, I won't say anything to anybody. But if they ask me if you're any good, I won't be saying, yeah. I'll just say, I don't know, whatever. But I won't say anything until the job's finished, all right?
And what will you say after?
That would depend on how good the repairs are.
all right. Well, this seems to be a very important issue for you, Jackie, and you know you started to talk about it. So let's move to the next part and see if we can't sort of start to get some boundaries around some ideas about what this is all going to look like. So you're happy to move on?
Yes.
All right. Well, this stage, one of the good things about mediation is that you can have outcomes that are, you know, not available through litigation and through the courts. So it's an opportunity to brainstorm and to be a bit creative about outcomes. Brainstorming means that you put up some suggestions and you don't analyse those or assess the merit of them. And once you've got all the ideas up, then I'll work with you to come back and look at whether they're workable or not, which ones you want to incorporate into being able to come to a way of settling this matter. Okay? All right. So again, just alternating, you know, you've already talked about some suggestions and I'm happy to record those as an option. I think, Jackie, it's actually your turn to start first. So what might be an option of way how you can settle this matter?
If I get paid again. So, I mean, the suggestion that James had about putting it into the hands of a third party, look, I suppose I'm prepared to compromise on that in relation to the $3,000. But the issue of actually fixing the dip and the cost of the materials...
Can I just take you back there because I'm going to record this. So basically there's an agreement between, one of the suggestions, I'm not saying it's a final agreement, but that James puts $3,000 $3,600 with mutual person, and that any expenses or ongoing expenses are paid. I think that's what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. I might just go to James for an option and then come back to you, Jackie. I always find sort of action statements are helpful in beginning to get an agreement together.
All right. Well, because I'm going to have to do this in my spare time and I work during the day and it's, you know, still getting dark at night, Jackie's going to have to work at night here, so we hire some arc lights to light up the site so that we can do all the work we need to do, you know, after hours.
So complete,
and I'm helping.
Complete work in the evening. Okay. Jackie, do you have another option?
Look, I think
It's gone. Doesn't matter.
that I'm happy to complete that work within the next couple of weeks and work evenings to finish it. So how about we say that that work gets done by the following weekend? But what might be an option is for you to actually assist as well. So
I said that.
You said you would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so just don't sort of analyse them yet. Let's just get them down. So anything else?
For James to stop defaming me anywhere. So family, friends.
All right, thank you. I've recorded that. James, do you have another option?
Jackie's agree to an independent arbitrator to look at the work to make sure that it's actually done properly.
Don't assess them now. Independent expert
Yeah, independent, that's the word.
to check quality of work. All right. Are there any other options, Jackie, that you'd like down? What about you?
No, I think, so, well, as long as the driveway's finished, I'm all right.
All right, okay. I do recall you both talking about the relationship with in the family. Is that important to have an option or a discussion around that?
See, I think that'll just flow from itself if the driveway's right myself.
I agree
It's
with that.
the only argument we've got.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So at the moment, if we had a board here, you'd see this yourself, but I'm just going to read them out. James puts $3,600 with a mutual independent person, and that stays there until the job is completed, excepting James accepts that any out-of-pocket expenses are paid to Jackie on an ongoing basis. So that was the first one. Complete the work in the evening so that you're available to help. And you said that might require the hiring of lights, okay? And the next one was that this work would be done the following weekend. It could be done in the evening. The next one was that James was to stop defaming Jackie. And the last one here is Jackie agree to an independent expert to assess the quality of the work and sign off on it. So that's the thing. Now, you know, what we need to do now is to really drill down through this and just to see how workable these might be. So looking at the 5 that are there, which one do you think, you know, might be easy for you both to agree on?
Look, I think I agree to all of them, really.
Right? Okay.
There's nothing there I couldn't live with.
Okay, good. All right. So who would that mutual person be?
Look, Mum, yeah. Why don't we have the mother being the mutual person?
Sure.
Okay. Now she's not here at the moment. Do you think she'd agree to that?
Never known her to turn away money.
I think she would, on the basis that we try and resolve this.
Okay. All right. And how will you agree on the payment of out-of-pocket expenses?
Well, if there are out-of-pocket expenses, I'll just send the bill to
Mum?
and then she can pass it on to James.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
All right. Good. And when will you give the money to your mother to hold in trust?
Well, as soon as you like. I've got it in the bank. I'll just write a cheque now or transfer it EFT. I can transfer it today. Now, if you like.
All right. Transfer. All right. Transfer today.